Good morning, everyone. I'm Olga Villaverdi.
And I'm Amber Milt. Welcome to The Balancing Act.
Today, we've got great ways you can take control of your health, whether it's physical or financial.
That's right, because getting your weight on track isn't always easy. Trust me, I know. So we could all use a little motivation. We've got ways that you can shake things up this morning.
Plus, we're going to tell you about a rarely diagnosed disease. In fact, Amber, I met a very special man who shared his personal story, and he has Alpha-1 deficiency. More on that coming up.
Plus, we've also got ways to simplify your insurance, and it all starts
right now.
Right now.
Are you struggling to follow a weight management program, having difficulty staying motivated? Well, today we've got encouraging ideas that'll help you put knowledge into action. Here to talk about the 5 R's of motivation is weight loss specialist Dr. Jamie Ard. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here.
Glad to be here.
Let's talk about motivation. It's a big word, but it's a little bit more complex than just wanting to do something, right?
Oh, absolutely. Motivation means having the will, but sometimes not knowing exactly how to do it. You need some help sometimes.
And you've got some basic questions that we need to ask when it comes to weight loss. So here are your 5 R's of motivation. Ready?
Ready.
Number 1, relevant.
Is this relevant to me? If you live in America right now, your weight is relevant to you.
Risks.
What are the things that my doctor's been warning me about that might happen if I don't lose weight? Diabetes, high blood pressure, cholesterol issues.
Important. Rewards.
What happens if I do lose weight? Can I ride that roller coaster, or do I not need to have that seatbelt extender?
Roadblocks.
What are the things that are keeping me from being successful, and should I get some help?
And the last one is remove.
This is where the help comes in, to help me remove those roadblocks or work around those things.
So once we've determined that we're ready, another R, there you go. What kind of program do you recommend?
I like to recommend medically managed weight loss programs, medically monitored weight loss. And what does that mean? So that means that you're going to have professional supervision as you move into losing weight.
Such as which one, for example?
So Optifast is a great example of a medically monitored weight loss program.
Optifast.
Yes.
Tell me more about it.
Optifast is a medically monitored program that is typically 26 weeks in duration. So you're going to get a full course of being able to learn how to lose weight, not just make lifestyle changes, but really learn how to make those behavior changes.
Is there food involved?
Yes, Optifast uses a complete meal replacement program. What that means is you're going to have shakes and bars and soups, these types of products that are going to allow you to, let's say, take a vacation from food. So you don't have to worry about what I'm going to choose or what I'm going to cook. That allows you to be successful in the early going and then rebuild your plan, your dietary plan, to be successful long term.
Doctor, who's the right person for this program?
Well, what we like to think of in the Optifast program is that individuals who benefit most are typically those who have a lot of weight to lose, so 50 or more pounds. Typically, you've got more medical conditions related to your weight, or you've had difficulty losing weight in the past and really need some help being successful.
And what are the things that help people succeed with this Optifast program?
Well, I think there are a few things that are really important that come with the Optifast program that you can't get elsewhere.
Okay.
So number 1 is complete nutrition and the meal replacement. So the meal replacement product that Optifast provides is recently reformulated to be more appropriate in terms of protein content, in terms of carbohydrate content, and it actually allows you to be satisfied throughout the day, provides complete nutrition. This program is backed by science and has appeared in 80 publications. The other thing that's really important is the medical supervision. So having a professional who knows how to help you get over those hurdles and those roadblocks.
Holding your hand, if you will.
Exactly. And then the last thing, which is probably most important, is the lifestyle education and the counseling that comes along with that to really help you get past the point of those mental hurdles that keep you from potentially sliding back.
And speaking of hurdles, what about those people? How do you help them when they get discouraged because they've lapsed?
Well, what we help people understand is that this is normal. This is part of the process of losing weight, but it's not about being perfect, it's about being consistent. And so that if you can continue to help yourself get back up and get back on the wagon, you'll do just fine.
Great information. Doctor, thank you so much.
I am so glad to be here. Thank you.
And for more information about this weight loss program or how to find a clinic near you that offers the program, go to optifast.com or our website, thebalancingact.com.
While it's not a rare disease, it's rarely diagnosed. That's because it mimics so many other diseases.
We're talking about Alpha-1 Antitrypsin Deficiency, also known as AAT deficiency. It's a genetic disorder that increases your risk for lung disease.
We traveled to Chicago to learn more from a renowned expert on the subject matter.
But first, meet a patient who was caught totally off guard by his diagnosis.
Difficulty breathing, and
56-year-old Jay Whitmore is not a smoker, yet he was battling infections normally associated with smoking. His issues began in 2005 while on a hiking trip in the Dominican Republic.
Well, I was hiking with friends and my chest got very tight. I had a hard time breathing. I knew I'd had a little congestion. I felt like maybe I was getting sick, but I've never had that chest tightness and heavy feeling before.
So you don't have your doctors around, you don't ever feel these symptoms.
No.
So at that moment, you come back to the States and you do what?
Well, when I went to the physician, he diagnosed me with a bronchitis. He gave me antibiotics, and then that's when I asked for a chest x-ray. He called me 2 days later. The chest x-ray came back and said I had emphysema.
Emphysema?
Yes.
Surprised?
Totally surprised. There should be no reason why, at 43 that I would be diagnosed with emphysema.
Dr. Kyle Hogarth, a pulmonologist at the University of Chicago, says that's a familiar reaction for many people, especially when they have no idea that Alpha-1 deficiency runs in the family. Dr. Hogarth is an expert in pulmonary diseases, including Alpha-1 deficiency, also known as AAT deficiency, which is a hereditary condition.
Alpha-1 deficiency is the name for a disorder where your body is not manufacturing enough of a specific protein. If you take a breath right now, you're breathing in a lot of different materials in the air, smoke and dust and pollens and bacteria and viruses. Those things land inside the lungs, your immune system takes over, it fights so that you don't get sick. Alpha-1 is what shuts off all of that destructive force, and if you don't have enough Alpha-1 around, then all of these destroying enzymes are allowed to run free. And so you can imagine that one of the things that's going to happen is a lot of excessive damage to the lungs because you can't regulate your body's response to anything foreign coming into the lungs. If you're walking around with not enough protective enzymes, but plenty of destructive enzymes, that imbalance leads to progressive damage to the lungs over time, or an accelerated damage to the lungs. So the way that manifests is frequently COPD and emphysema and asthma and bronchiectasis and bronchitis. You can pick a term, but the commonality here is damage to the airways and damage to the meat and substance of the lung.
Alpha-1 deficiency is a genetic condition passed from one generation to the next.
You're born with this deficiency. You inherited one abnormal gene from mom and one abnormal gene from your father. And the reason, of course, this is so relevant is that the carrier rate in the United States is actually quite high. And if you think about your own extended family tree, and you realize how many families marry into your family tree just over 2 to 3 generations, you start to realize that there's a good chance that another carrier is going to enter into your family tree somewhere.
As we mentioned earlier, Alpha-1 deficiency is hard to diagnose because the symptoms mimic many other conditions.
People present with shortness of breath. They're coughing. They're having trouble with exercise or in simple exercises, walking around. They may notice that they wheeze occasionally. And so what frequently does happen is they're told they have asthma. They're told they have COPD or emphysema or bronchitis. The problem is Alpha-1 manifests as COPD or asthma and emphysema, something that an average physician sees several times a day, every single day. And Alpha-1, the actual disease then, is buried in the noise, if you will. The disease manifests at all ages, across all races and ethnicities, and presents with multiple different obstructive type lung diseases that frequently a physician would prescribe an inhaler for. And in fact, the only way you're going to make this diagnosis, I can look at you and I can examine you and I can swear up and down that you have Alpha-1 deficiency. But until I do the blood test, I have no idea if I'm correct or if I'm wrong.
Jay Whitmore was first diagnosed with lung disease in 2004. About 4 years later, and still no clue that he has AAT deficiency, Jay met with a pulmonologist and enrolled in a clinical trial for COPD. Something he read in a waiting room changed his life forever.
And as I was sitting at the table getting my pulmonary function test. When that finished, I was reading a magazine, and in the magazine there was an article on Alpha-1 Antitrypsin Deficiency. I'd never heard of it. I tore out the card where you could order a free test, took the test, and it came back positive for Alpha-1 Antitrypsin Deficiency.
You learned that it was genetic. Did you find out more about the family tree that would help kind of like figure things out for you?
Yes, my mother was a smoker, so she has a little bit of COPD. I don't know if it's related to the Alpha-1, but my father is also a carrier, is asymptomatic. He doesn't have any symptoms at all.
Dr. Hogarth says there are some general recommendations on who should be tested to rule out Alpha-1 deficiency.
The key points are the following. It's anyone with the diagnosis of COPD, regardless of their smoking history. It's anybody with the diagnosis of emphysema, regardless of their smoking history. It's anybody with the diagnosis of chronic obstructive asthma. Clearly, people who have family members with the disorder should be tested. Bronchiectasis, otherwise unexplained liver disease, should also be another person who's tested. There's also a rare inflammatory condition of the skin and of the blood vessels. If you have those disorders, you should be tested. You'll notice over and over that the thing I kept saying is regardless of smoking history. If you've been labeled with one of these obstructed diagnoses and you're on inhalers for these medications, this is the test you need to rule out this disorder. Would it shock you to learn that the average Alpha-1 patient goes 8 years and has to see 3 separate doctors before someone orders a simple blood test?
The doctor also says that testing for Alpha-1 deficiency is not complex nor expensive.
It can obviously be done with any form of a blood draw, so think of every time you've been to the doctor's office and then they sent you down the hall or whatever and put the needle into your vein and tube or two of blood. Well, it's as simple as that. So anytime you've had your blood drawn, you could be tested for Alpha-1. We can do it even more simple, though. It can actually be tested with just a simple poke to the finger and a few drops of blood from your fingertips. It can also be done for free. There's really no excuse.
And Dr. Hogarth says that for certain patients that have a severe Alpha-1 deficiency with emphysema, there's a treatment available for that as well.
For the correct patient, the management of this disease involves replacing the deficient protein. So you don't make enough. So what if we could put it back into you? So once a week, you receive an injection, an infusion of the purified protein that you're missing, so that we can raise your levels back up and try to normalize the levels of your Alpha-1 protein since you don't manufacture enough. And of course, the alternative, not treating the disease you have, how's that an option?
Jay Whitmore followed his doctor's advice and modified his lifestyle. He actually moved from Atlanta to Florida. He says because there's less pollution there. How is Jay today?
I'm a lot better. My lung function still continues to drop, but you know, I take care of myself. I'm pretty healthy. I don't let it really bother me too much. I still try to exercise.
Still active?
Very active. I ride my bike. I walk every day. Go to the gym. So yeah, and I try to travel and do things. I mean, I do have my limitations, such as altitude or smoggy cities. But other than that, everything's been going pretty good.
So there is life after solving this puzzle.
There is life after solving the puzzle.
And for more information on Alpha-1 deficiency, you can visit ruleitout.org or just go to our website, thebalancingact.com.
And coming up, making sure you're covered when life throws you those unfortunate curveballs.
Talking about life insurance is never a pleasant conversation, but it is a necessary one so you can protect your family and those you love from the unexpected. Joining me today is Deborah Roth, a licensed life insurance advisor from Select Quote. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. You know firsthand what it is to cash in on a life insurance policy. I know you have a personal story. Would you mind sharing that?
Sure, I think it's an important story. I mean, I tell my clients all the time, trying to get them to understand the importance of life insurance.
And it is.
My husband passed away 13 years ago. It was a sudden passing. He wasn't ill.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you. And you know, we had a life insurance policy. And
Children?
There were 4 children. We had 4 children still in school. One of them just starting college. And it was a tough time for everybody. And one of the things you don't want to have to worry about, you want to be able to grieve, you want to be able to focus on what's important at that time. You don't want to worry about how the mortgage is going to be paid or how the, you know, who's going to make sure the car payment is taken care of and things like that. So we were fortunate we had that life insurance policy. So I was able to take that time, spend that time trying to heal myself, heal
Sure.
the children,
And
and make
move
sure
forward.
everybody was moving in the right direction instead of stumbling. If I was distracted, it wouldn't have worked out that way.
And a lot of people think about getting one, they don't do it. A lot of people think it's not going to happen, but it can. You are the example here. So if someone's thinking about it today, what's the difference, let's say, between a term and a whole life insurance policy? Because I hear both of those.
Oh yeah, I get that question all the time, and it's the word whole life you have for your whole life.
Okay.
It's a lot more expensive than term insurance, but it is for your whole life. Term life insurance is for a specific period of time. It's for a term in your life, and generally speaking, the term is during your wage earning years. You want to make sure you have adequate coverage. It's very affordable to get term life insurance. You want to make sure that income is replaced so that your family isn't going to be worrying about, am I going to be able to send the kids to college? Am I going to be able to keep the roof over my head?
Now, every family is different, every demand is different. So how do you know how much you need? Is there a formula?
There's no cookie cutter formula
Okay.
or anything. I always tell people, talk to one of our life advisors at Select Quote. We can discuss with you what your needs are.
Assess how your life
Right.
is.
We want to find out, tell me about, what type of career do you have? What kind of income? What kind of bills do you have? How big is your family? How old is your family? We want to make sure that the term is the right term for you and that the replacement amount would be adequate if, God forbid, something were to happen to one or other spouse. And again, it's important for both spouses to have life insurance. I can't stress that enough because you just don't know when and you don't know who. And you're not going to work tomorrow if your loved one passes away. You're going to need that time to heal.
Because it is overwhelming if that should happen. And it is overwhelming to choose that life insurance policy. So where do you begin?
Call selectquote.com, give one of our life advisors a call, or go to our website, selectquote.com, where you can work up a quote for yourself. What we do is we shop across the market. We're looking for the best policy at the best price for our customers. And we've been in business for over 30 years, so we have the experience behind us, and we work with the best companies out there in the market, the A or A+ rated life insurance companies.
And it's really important to reach out to someone that has that personal interest for you.
Absolutely. You want to make sure somebody's got your best interest at heart. We're pretty much commission blind when we go into it. We don't know how much we're going to get paid for the life insurance quote, which makes it fair to you because we're not trying to sell you something. We're trying to make sure you have something you need. A great example is a 37-year-old woman in great health could get a $750,000 life insurance policy with a 10-year term for $19 a month. If she wanted only, say, a $350,000 policy would only cost $13 a month. So it's a lot more affordable than you think it is.
And for one day that something could happen,
Yes.
it could be a lifesaver.
And you just don't know when it's going to happen. So take care of it now so that your loved ones are protected.
Thank you so much for sharing your information and your personal story.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Kids doing good?
They are great.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And if you'd like more information on a term life insurance, you can go to selectquote.com or go to our website, thebalancingact.com.
Travel tips brought to you by Sunoco, on the racetrack or the road home. Sunoco, fueling victories every day.
There's an old saying, the nose knows. Well, when it comes to your car, your sense of smell can be an early warning sign to car problems. Number 1, the rotten egg smell. It could mean your car's catalytic converter is not converting exhaust fumes properly. So if it smells like rotten eggs, go see your mechanic right away. Number 2, the hot oil smell. This can mean your engine oil is leaking onto your exhaust system. Stop your car in a safe location and look for oil on the pavement. Number 3, the gasoline smell. It could mean you have a gas leak, possibly in the fuel injector or the lines leading in, or the fuel tank itself. Seek immediate help from a qualified mechanic. If something smells wrong, it's best to get it looked at as soon as possible. When you're traveling, stay safe. And remember, the nose knows. And always keep your car's fuel and fluids topped off by stopping in at your local Sunoco A+ convenience store. Well, that's it for now. We'll see you next time. And remember, happy trails.
Travel Tips has been brought to you by Sunoco, on the racetrack or the road home. Sunoco, fueling victories every day.
So that's our show for today.
And remember to head to our Facebook page and our website and follow us on Twitter. We've got lots more there.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.